The Colorado River has long been a major source of water in the southwestern part of the United States. However, because of the 23-year-long mega drought in this region, the river is in a state of crisis. Water levels in the major reservoirs in the lower Colorado remain at historically low levels, even in the face of strong winter storms that have contributed to an exceptional snowpack in the Northern California mountains. In this video, I will review the reasons that the Colorado River system is in such bad condition, including the role that climate change plays. Lake Mead was formed by the construction of the Hoover Dam in the 1930s. It is the largest water storage facility in the United States. It supplies water to Nevada, Arizona, California, and Mexico. Upstream, Lake Powell was formed by the construction of the Glen Canyon Dam, and it is the second largest water storage facility in the United States. Glen Canyon Dam also is a major source of hydroelectric power in the United States Southwest. Lake Powell was intended to regulate water delivery between the states in the Upper Colorado Basin Compact, namely Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, and Wyoming, and the states in the Lower Colorado Basin Compact, Nevada, Arizona, and California. Basically, the compact guaranteed that the three lower basin states would receive at least 7.5 million acre-feet of water per year, and this was to be accomplished by releasing extra water from Lake Powell in dry years and making up for those releases by storing more water in wet years. Lake Powell began to fill in 1963 and reached its peak storage in the late 1980s. Combined storage in the two reservoirs was about 47 million acre-feet at the start of the year 2000, but began dropping rapidly to about 26 million acre-feet by 2010 as the megadrought took hold. There were some wet years during the 2010s, so storage in that decade did not drop a lot, but by 2020 was down to about 23 million acre-feet. However, the drought worsened over the past 3 years to the point where only 12.8 million acre-feet are in storage, and Lake Mead is threatening to drop to dead pool status where no water could be released downstream to California. The Lake Powell water level currently is only about 250 feet above dead pool level, at which point electricity generation would stop. Clearly, we need to understand the causes of this Colorado River crisis. Recently, the Los Angeles Times published two comprehensive articles that focused on the reasons why the Colorado River is in a crisis state. I've included links to these articles in the detailed description for this video. Unfortunately, they initially were behind a paywall and may not be available to all readers. One major factor that has contributed to the crisis is the megadrought that began in the year 2000 and now is in its 23rd year. As I noted in an earlier video about this megadrought, these megadroughts in the Southwest occur approximately once in 1,000 years and typically last for roughly 30 years. They are caused primarily by long-term weather changes in the North Pacific Ocean. They are not caused by climate change per se, but the hotter and drier weather in the Southwest that is caused by climate change has made the current megadrought about 40% worse than it otherwise would have been. The first of the LA Times articles also points out that the only time that Lake Mead and Lake Powell reached full capacity was in the late 1990s, when the demand on the system was relatively low. The Central Arizona Project's 336-mile pipeline that supplies water to Arizona's most populous counties was just nearing completion, and the Southern Nevada Water Authority that supplies water to Las Vegas and environs was not created until 1991. It was only after those two events that Arizona and Nevada began to draw their full allocations of Colorado River water. But once that happened, between the large allocation to California, which is used to supply water for agriculture in the Imperial Valley, as well as water for domestic use, and the demands from Arizona, Nevada, along with the upper basin states, more water was being drawn from the system that was entering it. The combination of the mega drought, together with these new demands and the effects of climate change acting together, have caused the very rapid drawdown that we have seen in the past 3 years. If the mega drought had not occurred, it likely would have taken much longer for the system to reach the level of crisis that it is experiencing today. Climate change has been making the upper Colorado River Basin both hotter and drier. In this chart from the first LA Times article, total wet season precipitation has been plotted against average dry season temperatures for various locations within the upper Colorado Basin. The light blue dots are from the 50-year period from 1950 through 1999, while the dark blue dots are from just the last 3 years. In viewing this chart, the key thing to note is the increase in average dry season temperature. Precipitation is down, but not that much in the past 3 years. The reason that the increase in average dry season temperature is so important is that this factor increases evaporation. This means that less of the melting ice pack in the upper Colorado Basin ends up in the river and its tributaries. In fact, climate scientists estimate that for every degree centigrade that the average temperature in the upper basin rises, evaporation from the ice pack itself and from vegetation reduces the flow of the Colorado River by about 9%. The second Los Angeles Times article, that I also have provided a link to in the video description, notes that evaporation is not only a problem in the upper Colorado Basin, where water flows into the river, it also is a problem downstream. Evaporation removes water from Lake Powell and Lake Mead, as well as along the canals that carry water to Arizona, California, and Mexico. The Colorado River system was designed before climate change was a major issue. It was designed to provide just enough water to meet the expected needs of the states in both the upper and lower Colorado basins for agricultural uses. These account for 80% of water supplied, and domestic needs that account for 20%. But as climate change has raised the average temperature in the region served by the project, increased evaporation means that there just isn't enough water to supply the original allocations for all the states in both the upper and lower Colorado basins. The pressing question is, how should the allocations to each of the states in both the upper and lower Colorado basins be adjusted so that neither Lake Powell nor Lake Mead reach dead pool levels? Recently, the Bureau of Reclamation has been pressing the states in the Colorado River Compact to develop a plan to make those adjustments. One agency, the Southern Nevada Water Authority, has proposed that water lost to evaporation should be included as part of each state's allocation. The states in the upper Colorado Basin already have been doing that for years. However, the states in the lower Colorado Basin and Mexico have not. Taking evaporation into account would reduce the total amount of water reaching Arizona, Nevada, and California by about 1.5 million acre-feet per year. This reduction would be distributed in proportion to the size of each state's original allocation. Under this plan, Southern Nevada's yearly allocation would be reduced by about 6%, Arizona's by 13%, and California's by 18%, and these numbers could increase if needed to keep the Glen Canyon Dam and Hoover Dam infrastructure operational. California water managers have been reluctant to accept this proposal because California has the most senior water rights to Colorado River water. Water law is convoluted, but basically it favors those entities that obtain their water rights earliest in time. And California's water rights go back to 1901, when water from the Colorado River was directed into the Imperial Valley for agricultural purposes. We don't know what the final results of these negotiations will be, but there is one thing that we can say with certainty. There is going to be less water available to the lower Colorado Basin states than there was in the past. I hope you have found this video informative. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments section and I will do my best to answer them. I've also included a link to my other climate videos below, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel.